This is awesome.
Oh, Clark, hey. Good to see you among the living, man. Check it out. It's the latest talent mix.
Thanks, Pete.
Good to see you all among the living. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Talon Mix. It is a Smallville recap podcast coming to you in defiance of God.
Oh, why? Why are you the way that you are? Why would you do that to us?
We've been struggling to record, but it's okay. We're going to get through it. Whatever this is going to go up. We tried yesterday to record. We tried earlier tonight to record. Here we are. It's going to happen. It is going to happen.
We are on a different program than we normally use because the other one, there was about 5 seconds of lag. We got 5 minutes into our recording last night, and then Brian was like suicidal because he thought our chemistry was so bad.
So
he was like, "What happened?"
So, I'm a human being who talks a lot. I'm aware of the difference between, like, I've made Zach laugh and what's a polite laugh to acknowledge you've heard me and, like, okay, time to move on.
Yeah.
We all do it. That's not and I didn't get either. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is going on? And it sent me spiraling. I think I even said to you, why are you looking at me like I'm a crazy person? And it was because of 5 seconds of lag.
Yeah. Oh, man. It was brutal. And also, you should just quickly tell the story you've already told once before of we tried to record this episode on Thanksgiving.
Yes. I want to apologize real fast. Thank everyone for their patience. I know we didn't upload last week. Thank you for your patience for that. Thank you for your continuing patience. The holidays are coming up for everybody. I'm also in the early stages of a life-changing move of cities, which is very intense, on top of having a wonderful 9-month-old baby and a terrible dog. And so we were going to record last week when we were in Virginia. It was the one window we had Emily. Emily was going to do it, and then she wasn't, so actually that wasn't going to be a big deal. But I packed everything. I packed my recorder. I packed my microphones. What I didn't bring was the 2 cables I needed to connect the microphone to the recorder. Literally brought them. I grabbed them. I got them. Where the fuck could they be? What the fuck could I have done with them? Got home. They were right on my desk.
That's what happens.
It's what happens.
That's called getting older.
It's it sucks. When does it end? I guess with death. Zach, did I tell you? I don't think I did tell you. I tripped on mushrooms for the first time in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. I had a buddy who found out I had never done mushrooms and was like, I fucking love mushrooms. Come over. Let's do mushrooms. And I'm like, all right, guess I'm going to do mushrooms. And it was an intensely terrifying experience. My wife did have to come pick me up.
It's like a little kid who has to go home early from the sleepover.
It was, I felt like it was hours. It was roughly 45 minutes after I started tripping. I was like, I had to have my wife come pick me up. And so my friend lives a couple of blocks from me. He walked me home. He does regret walking me down a street that still had Halloween decorations left up.
Oh, no.
Just the spooky. It's so weird. I didn't notice all the spooky monsters that existed in the blocks between us. But
was he also tripping?
Yes, but he's much more experienced, and we had done, to be clear, a pretty small dose. But after all of the spookiness, which was profound, it's. To be clear, like, all of my anxieties became demons and were attacking me. So there was that element, but also there's a part of it. It's so different from what I'm used to. What I'm used to is beer and marijuana, and you can kind of, when you are drunk and high, zone in and kind of become at least what you believe to be high functioning again.
Yeah.
At least you think, you think you're kind of pulling it off. On shrooms, I learned, okay, all right, I'm going to really concentrate and try to, get back to oh, no, David Attenborough is still kind of looking at me weird, man. It's not, people can, you won't be this high forever. No, it's going to be okay. This is going to end in only a couple of hours. This isn't even that, mushrooms aren't even a long thing. It's not going to be forever. You're going to be okay. And I'm sitting there you don't know how bad this is. I can't put my brain back. I won't be able to put my brain back together. It's broken now.
Isn't that a side effect of those things that some people,
I think if you have
back together?
So if you have already a latent, I think people with schizophrenia but don't maybe know they have schizophrenia, don't really have, was I sitting there going that's me, that's gonna be me now.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to jump into an entire mushroom story, but here we are. What I hope to get to actually was a very fulfilling spiritual experience for me. But what I did have is, so I've lost all. My friend walks me home to my wife, who I did text beforehand. Hi, she of course knew I was going to my friend's place to do mushrooms. I'm like, hi, I'm in a really bad place. I need to come home and go to bed. Are you okay if I come home having a bad trip while also taking care of our daughter? And she has some mushrooms experience. So she was like, yes, it's fine. Come home. It's fine. So she's kind of helping me out the best she can while our daughter is, having dinner and doing baby things. She's doing her best to take care of both of us. She's an amazing woman. But I am so detached from reality of have I lost my mind? Is everything chill right now? Or are you scared of me? Are you scared for our child? Is my assessment of this situation wrong? Because I don't know, because my brain is in pieces. And my wife had to assure me, no, nothing's wrong. No one is afraid. You're just being annoying. Anyway, once all that passed, had an incredibly spiritual experience that made me completely okay with the idea of dying someday. Which that was a long roundabout. Anyway, mushrooms.
What was the trick to going from the nightmare to the nice experience?
I think, I'm not sure. I was on a train with myself and we had a very long talk about how I'm anxious about a lot of things all of the time. And it was, and how it's just me, brother. It's just me. It's just me. We got to figure it out together. And it's, so you eventually hit this euphoric state where man, I got it all figured out. I'm going to be a better person after this. And then it all layers back on and no, I'm still the same piece of shit I always was.
Right. Yeah.
So basically just a drug-induced euphoria hits and you're like, this is great. I'm having a great time. But anyway, mushrooms, recommend it. If you're interested, I recommend it with don't do it in a dark apartment that is not my friend had just moved. He was basically my friend who's very mushrooms experienced. I led you down I did a bad job. I should have done this better with you. This should have been on a nice summer day in a park. This should not have been in my unpacked apartment. Right. But I thought it was interesting he was like, oh man, I should have warned you, you have to be in a good headspace. If you're in a bad headspace, it's going to bring you down a bad path. But it's I had read that. Everyone says that. And I was like, I am in a good headspace. Nah. Nah, dog. Most of the time, turns out, nah.
That's my concern is I know I'll be anxious about it. And then that will be a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And I think that's what happened to me. I gotta say, real bad. It was real bad for a minute there. It was the most afraid I've ever been. And 'cause I've lived a very blessed life and haven't been that afraid very often. That said, man, very spiritual. Sorry to go on a
next time for an episode, a Patreon episode, you need to take mushrooms and then watch an episode of Smallville.
I will never do it again. No, that was my one and done. And like specifically, like I did a low-ish dose, but it was specifically like I've never done mushrooms before. I may never do mushrooms again, so I want to like do mushrooms. You know what I mean? It's a smarter thing would have been to do a much lower dose and then like kind of vibe it out and then work my way up. But like I was like, this might be it. I have a kid. This isn't gonna be a habit. You know?
This is untenable.
Right. Sorry for the mushrooms rant, but what the fuck were we talking about? Smallville.
I think this is a show about Smallville.
I think this is a show about Smallville. We watched Mercy this week. Oh yeah, right. I forget what we talked about on one of the duds. I forget. Well, we have not talked about how we wanted Emily on this one. We wanted Emily. It's hard, man. It's hard. We got a lot going on.
That is the reason that this episode took so long to get up, is because we were waiting for Emily. We even recorded next week's episode weeks ago, but
I don't remember what that episode is at all.
It's the Tom Welling directed Little Girl Glass episode.
No.
Yeah, that hasn't gone up yet. That's
that one went up
next week.
No. Next week's Fade. Last week is Walking on Broken Glass. That one went up. That one's up right now on your podcasting app.
See, now I can't remember either.
Fade is the charismatic assassin.
Oh yeah, fucking! I like that one. That's a fun one.
That one was good. We're in a
the villain of the week that we were rooting for. We're on this guy's side. Yeah.
I was gonna pretend like we haven't been in a fucking wonky order of like this episode after the drought of episodes is certainly like finally some good fucking food. You know?
We still need to talk about that. Yeah, we still need to talk about that.
It's just a breath of fresh air. So this episode, it's called Mercy. It's the 19th episode in the 5th season of Smallville. It's the 107th episode overall. It aired April 20th, 2006. And it's the Saw episode. It's the episode where someone came in. We've seen many of them now over the years, but someone came into the writer's room and was like, fuck it, we're doing Saw this week.
Yes, and we just spent an hour plus railing the Smallville writers for doing this with flatliners. But the difference between the Flatliners version and the Saw version is that the Saw one is a good episode.
It's a really good episode. And the Flatliners one isn't. A
great episode.
I do think also there's an element here of it's like a writer saw a Saw movie, which were popular at the time, and almost crossed their arms and went, what would Lionel do in one of these?
Right. Because he is very much like a character that Jigsaw would want to kill.
Right.
He is a very corrupt individual, certainly.
Right. He would absolutely be a target for it. So it was like, I do want to see that. Zach, how do you feel about...
Is it a coincidence that one of the best episodes of the show is the John Glover centered episode?
Oh, who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Zach, how familiar are you with / interested in the Saw franchise films?
Okay, that's actually two different questions. I am familiar in that I have seen the first Saw movie. That's my familiarity.
Got it.
And whatever I get from talking to you about it. My interest is actually a lot higher because I'm very fascinated by long-running franchises with weird timelines.
Sure.
I love that idea.
Oh, Saw's got yeah.
And also long-running franchises that like go up and down wildly in popularity as they're running.
Sure.
And it's very similar to Fast and Furious, which I've only seen a couple of those too, but it's just like a long running thing where we're all over the fucking place.
Right. Saw is interesting in that I read, so Saw would come out around Halloween. I remember there was one marketing. I'm a big Saw fan, which, I do like to specify, I am kind of realizing how to articulate that, like, the horror movie fan part of my brain is not the same as, like, the film fan part of my brain. They're similar. The Venn diagram crosses over, like, a little bit. More than a little bit. But, like, there's also just, like, yo, did you see the fucking guy's eyeballs pop out? That was fucking cool, dude. Like,
you know what? I just had deja vu. This is the point in our first attempt at this episode when you looked at me. You said that, and then you looked at me and went like, "Why are you fucking looking at me like that?"
Just like I felt stoned. Like, I was like, was that a crazy thing I said? I say a lot of stoned crazy shit. I don't think that's one of them. I think I've said crazier shit. Why are you looking at me like you have no fucking idea what I'm talking about?
Don't leave me hanging, you son of a bitch. I'm like, meanwhile, on my end, I'm politely waiting for you to finish your anecdote.
And to be clear, I wasn't like mad at you. I was mad at myself. Like, am I a fucking idiot? Like, oh man, fucking wild, man. I guess that's recording podcasts in different states, different time zones. And like, it's amazing we haven't dealt with this more.
It's true. I mean, we almost couldn't be further away and still be in the same country if we tried. There's very few places that we could be that would be further away from each other.
We gotta do one in person, dude. We gotta make it happen.
We got 5 seasons to make it happen.
To do it. And I hope it happens before then. If we have not done one in person before, like, the finale, we gotta make the finale happen in person.
But no, or it's not the finale of Smallville, it's the finale of our show. So it would be the season 10 wrap up. That's the whole series awards, right?
Right.
The series wrap up.
Right. And I'm not saying like we don't do it till then. If the opportunity comes up before then, we do it. But if we haven't by then, we specifically buy tickets somewhere, we make it happen. So, God, what the fuck were we talking about? Saw,
yeah.
The Saw franchise of films this is 2006. Saw was 2004. 2 was 5. So 3's coming out. 3 will come out this October, I guess. And they're an interesting franchise of films in that they'd come out around Halloween. And then I read by like January, they'd get the go-ahead to make another one. And they'd have that in theaters by October. So, like, even though, like, it has this weird timeline and they kind of become syndicated by like, the mid to late range, they didn't know there was going to be... Maybe this is the last one. Like... That said, they kept fucking making money because they're also cheap. And that's the magic of horror movies, is they're fucking cheap.
That's the Blumhouse model, right?
That's the Blumhouse model. Well, the Blumhouse model is specifically... Saw is not Blumhouse.
No, but...
It's the Blumhouse model is you get X amount of money, we will not give you more money. Saw actually got more money at some point of like, oh, this is pretty good. Let's pump a little extra money into it before we get it into theaters. Let's put a soundtrack on it. Blumhouse is like, hey, if you give us a couple more $1 million, we think we can make this a good movie. Nah, don't care. Put it out. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah, but they broke their own rule when they did the Exorcist movie, and that backfired big time. Luckily, they had... yeah, because they spent how much money on the Exorcist movies to get the rights. Did you hear about that?
I know nothing. I just know the movie wasn't great. I saw the movie. It wasn't great. That's all. That's really all I know about it.
Didn't they spend like $400 million or something on the rights to make those movies?
That's so much. Who cares?
And so that was considered like, oh man, the first time he did that and it blew up in his face. But then Five Nights at Freddy's just fucking blowing the doors off the box office.
I know a fair amount of like 14, 15-year-olds. I am frequently at a Brooklyn game store where I run Dungeons and Dragons for teens. With the local youths, they're all Five Nights at Freddy's fucking like, did you see it? And like, I have to be like, I don't want to damper their excitement with like, it wasn't very good, but like, they're so into it.
Someone told me, not told me, I heard it on a podcast, and this really put it in perspective for me because I knew Five Nights at Freddy's was a game and that it was popular, but someone said, imagine if at the height of Mario Brothers, like in the early 90s, a really faithful Mario Brothers movie came out in theaters.
Yes, that's pretty much, yeah.
And to be honest, I would have rather gotten the Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo version of Five Nights at Freddy's. That's just like totally off the wall and crazy, but
it's though I gotta say though, I've seen the super faithful Mario movie. I'd rather have the Dennis Hopper, John Leguizamo one.
Right, yeah, yeah, for sure. But at the time, as a kid, I would have been, if that Mario Brothers movie came out, I think it would have been a similar reaction.
Sure, right.
They did it!
They
fucking did it!
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any other thoughts about the Saw franchise of films that I haven't said already on this podcast before we get... Oh, one thing I think is interesting about the first film was directed by James Wan, who is, of course, now a gigantic Hollywood guy. Aquaman 2 is coming out. I read theaters are a little worried that that's the big Christmas release, but that has more to do with...
I was looking at the upcoming releases for December, and it is bare, my man.
Yeah. Thank God Taylor Swift was around earlier, huh? Like, I hope you squirreled some of that away. December's not great.
It's that actors-writers strike situation didn't help.
No.
I mean, it did. It helped the actors and the writers, which it should have.
Which it should. It good. But James Wan, of course, The Conjuring, Aquaman, which I liked. I'm not like Aquaman was a great movie. Zach, you got to see it ASAP. I liked it. And I like James Wan, and I think his talent comes through in that first Saw movie of... It's difficult to see how cheap that movie is. That movie does not, and don't get me wrong, it looks cheap. It does not look as cheap as it fucking was. They had Danny Glover for 24 hours. And like, he's well sparsed throughout the movie, like Danny Glover's in that movie. But
did he save money by shooting it in an actual like disgusting bathroom?
That's I believe so.
I did want to say that Smallville was not the only culprit doing Saw knockoffs circa 2006. They were flooding the marketplace at that point. That was like
none are coming to mind. Do you have any examples?
What was that Diane Lane one? Untraceable?
Oh, movie specific. Oh, there was a lot of stuff that was
I'm
like
talking about movies.
Yeah. I was like Saw knockoff episodes of shows.
One Tree Hill, fucking Grey's Anatomy.
The Saw episode of Gilmore Girls. Is Emily and I were watching House of Wax, which I believe is like 2009, and we were kind of trying to... Horror like comes in waves and has these waves, and they're all following like trends, right? Of like something's popular right now because horror movies are quick and cheap to make, a bunch pop up. If something's popular, boom, a bunch of things try to capitalize on it. The Italians call it veins that they tap. The Italians don't have genres; they have veins. You're laughing at me, but it's true.
I'm an Italian, so I have veins.
There you go. You got veins. You got them Italian veins. We were watching House of Wax, which I believe is 2009. And Emily and I were like sitting there, we're stoned, and we're trying to place what the fuck this movie's doing. What the fuck is this? And then we realized, what year did this come out? 2000. Oh, Saw is really popular right now. And like, as we realized that, boom, House of Wax at like the 40-minute mark becomes a torture porn movie. And it was like, right.
Yeah. That's right.
Right.
And that's another one of the differences between this episode and the Flatliners episode is that this is more of this is hot right now. This is more of the Fast and the Furious episode, right?
Yes.
This is hot right now. Let's do one of those.
Yes.
Whereas Flatliners, it was like, oh, you just have no idea. Like, you're just like, I watched a movie from the 80s. Let's do that.
Someone rented Flatliners last week and then came in there. I won't say his name, but he's a very good friend of mine, and some listeners of this may know him. I used to live with him, but would come into pitch meetings at a website we both worked for, and I say this lovingly, and he'd cop to it just as quickly. Would sometimes like scroll out pitches in the bathroom on his phone, and would just come in with like the most like, I don't know. I was thinking about pitches for like comedy articles, and the Flatliners episode has that vibe. Once again, I won't say his name, but if you're thinking, I think I know who he's talking about, you know who I'm talking about, and he'd admit to it. This one though does feel like, once again, what would Lionel do? And you're right, that's a fun question. Should we get into the recap? Any other thoughts? I know we're a little silly tonight, but
we've had a long delay. We've tried to do this 40 times. We're a little off the wall, you know?
I'm like shocked. I'm still like impressed that we seem to be doing okay, which of course will jinx it.
I'm waiting. I know I'm waiting for it to fuck up.
We do have an hour at least now with the 27 minutes we've been recording. We have an hour now of us trying to figure this out.
No, let's get into it.
Yeah, I think I'll have more thoughts, but we'll get into it over the... Lionel Luthor is taking a business call in his limo while reading the Daily Planet, which features a headline about Martha Kent.
Yeah, stop right there. We gotta get a pause. Okay. Headline is underselling it. This is the front page of the Daily Planet,
which is the New York Times equivalent.
Yes. And this is a full page fucking Dewey defeats Truman. It's like the fucking moon landing. It says Senator Kent reveals financial plan. Like a giant picture of Martha. The full front page
of the Daily Planet.
Talk about a slow fucking news day. If it said Senator Kent kills president, that might justify. Right. It's not even like Senator Kent scandal. It's like reveals budget plan.
Front
That's like
page.
That's not even front page, like bottom corner. That's like, even if she was the senator of the state, she's not. She's not. She's the senator of bumfuck nowhere Smallville.
No, I'm trying to imagine like fucking Chuck Schumer to fucking does anything budgetarily being the front page.
If Biden announced a budget plan, it would not be on the front page.
No.
It would not take up more than a little square.
Right. That'd be the little like, here's a thing. Yeah. We didn't know what else to put in the square, I guess. And this is a national newspaper, I believe. I believe the Daily Planet is like Batman reads the Daily Planet, I believe.
Oh, no, yeah. Daily Planet is the paper of record. Right. It's the big one.
So you're telling me that right now, in 2006, Batman is reading about Martha Kent's fucking budget plan? That's what you want me to believe?
Like, what is there? Are there any tiny towns in upstate New York? Probably not, because New York is so busy. But if there was a small, like, bumfuck town, it would be like if the senator.
There's plenty of bumfuck towns in upstate New York. Yeah, and they have
the senator that like a Poughkeepsie fucking was like. That was on the front page of the New York Times, like the JFK assassination.
You know, there's like a little bit of in the Star Wars prequels, there's a little bit of Anakin Skywalker's a big deal, even though it doesn't really make sense in the fiction. It's like Anakin Skywalker only matters because we know who Darth Vader is, and that's Smallville, right? Like. Just like, this is all a big deal because it's the show we're watching, I guess.
Yeah. How did that happen? That like the prop department, like who screwed up there? Because I can't imagine the showrunners saw the finished product and were like, well, that's exactly what we wanted, was a giant front page headline.
I understand you have to communicate information fast, presumably also potentially to someone who's never seen the show before. So you need to know Martha Kent, senator, big deal, not, but I'm making heavy quotations. Lionel, interested, even though he's not reading that page, if I'm not mistaken. Does he have it open?
He's like reading the cartoons. Yeah. Like, you could have had it folded over, so like the article for Martha is still front facing for us, but it's like the middle of the paper and it's smaller. It's a black and white photo.
It's can you fold I cannot fold a newspaper for the fucking life of me.
I mean, it is a whole thing. It's like unfolding a map. It's like, fuck.
It's a whole... I will only... Not that I fucking get the newspaper. Every now and again, if I'm getting a train to Connecticut, I will, like, grab a New York Times from, like, the train station. Just because I try not to be on my phone too much. So I'm like, I'll grab a newspaper. Okay, great. I just become like a mess of paper everywhere. Like my grandfather could fucking fold it up however way he had to go with a cigarette hanging from his mouth, you know? Like, could fold it up into whatever fucking configuration he needed.
We're not as trained in the newspapers anymore.
That's it.
You know?
My grandfather couldn't use a fucking phone, so...
Right, exactly. Yeah, he wouldn't be able to play a PlayStation.
Right. No, he couldn't make a fucking podcast. Fuck you, Grandpa.
In the world, apparently neither can we. In the world of the show,
based on our listens, yeah.
Yeah. In the world of the show, do you think the editor-in-chief at the Daily Planet saw that front page and was like, I was kidding when I told you to put that as the front page story?
Chloe's just sitting there with a what?
Yeah, sense the tone. Yeah, Chloe did it because she knows Martha.
Yeah.
But, like, wait, how did this end up here? Chloe...
Okay, so Lionel ends the call by firing the people he was talking to. The partition in his limo suddenly appears. Okay. And a figure wearing a silver mask appears on the TV. Zach, we gotta talk about this mask. It's... What's the word I'm looking for? Bad. It's bad. They should have done better.
What were they going for? Like, this is something he threw together with tinfoil? Was that the...
Well,
it really looks like tinfoil, right?
It does look like... So it looks like a tinfoil... It looks like a mask. It's covered in tinfoil, and then there's a blue light kind of illuminating his eyes. So
Right, yeah.
there is through together would be one thing. But later in the episode, I think I was going to save it, but here we are. There are screens, and he clearly wants this to be like his thing because all of the screens are just on the wallpaper or the screensaver is this mask. So I think the guy is like proud of this mask. He's going to make it his whole like thing. And it's bad. It's a bad Jigsaw approximation.
Oh no, it's terrible.
It'd be one thing. It's like it's clearly evoking Jigsaw of like not even so in the Saw movies. There's this puppet that Jigsaw uses. Kind of incidentally, it kind of got overused as like the mascot of the franchise. The puppet face is not Jigsaw. That's his creepy little friend. But I love that
bad. Jigsaw had this plan, had all this shit planned out, and he's like, it's missing something.
Fuck, there's something.
What is it missing?
Sesame Street is on the TV, just like the magic of puppetry.
Wait a second.
That was the other thing while I was on mushrooms was my wife had some Sesame Street songs on the TV. I'm like, that has to stop. That is way too threatening. I need this to stop.
Big Bird looking at me like that?
More like it was Grover, but yeah. I was like, this has to stop now. Okay, the limo stops short on the train tracks, and Alex, the driver, is shown leaving the limo. The figure forces Lionel to play hangman. If he loses, the car will get hit by the train. Okay, so this I thought was funny. We get a literal, I want to play a game, which is the Saw thing, and then makes Lionel play hangman. It's the Saw games, quote unquote, are usually you have to get a key out of your eyeball. And
right. And Lionel was like, oh, you literally wanted to play a game.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
okay. Awesome. All right.
Jigsaw's not like pulling out Candyland. Have you ever seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey?
Yeah, that's what made me think of too. That's what my head went.
Not a great movie. I would say the weakest of the three Bill and Ted movies. I quite like the third one. But
I haven't seen the third one yet.
It was the right time. It was the right space to see it. I really, really liked it. So with those caveats in mind, I really liked it.
It's not like the other two were masterpieces or anything. They're just like really like good vibes. Man.
Yes,
like they're
absolutely
positivity.
Yes,
so much positivity.
1,000,000%. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was in the lead up to. My wife had not seen either of them, so I'm like, oh man, I want you to see Bill and Ted. And in watching that, I realized I had never seen it back to front in order. I'd seen the whole movie in pieces on Comedy Central. I'd never intentionally watched the whole movie. I've just seen all of it in pieces. And ain't that the way? I missed that a little bit. Okay. We are nowhere into this episode.
Well, we missed a week, so it's okay if it's supersized for people.
You know what? I agree.
We owe them a little more.
I agree. Okay, so the limo stops short on the train tracks. Driver goes away. Frantically, Lionel calls out letters as the train comes closer and closer. He eventually guesses the phrase, which is no mercy. Just in time, the doors unlock and Lionel exits the limo seconds before it gets destroyed by the train. Car destruction. Bad CGI.
As soon as it was on... Yeah, as soon as it was on the train track, I was like, car crash.
The train? No train crash. Train's fine.
Oh, yeah, train, no damage whatsoever.
Okay, so he passes the Smallville sign where the words "having fun yet" are spray painted across it. It's a good little. For all the silly stuff of like the mask is bad, the literally play the game hangman. Immediately, I was like, "This is good. This is a good episode of Smallville."
Like, I care. I'm interested in what's happening. That's like,
and it turns out that's all I ask for.
yeah.
Truly, just don't be a chore. Because sometimes Smallville episodes can be a chore.
There's a difference between I'm interested in what is happening and I'm interested in knowing how this came to be.
Yes.
Those are two different
yes.
levels of interest.
Yes. Though that said, I think this one's a pretty
one of them was Smallville.
This one's a pretty fine thread of like, this is a good episode. It's good.
Oh yeah. No, I'm saying I think this is the former. This is like, oh, I'm interested in what's happening here. Not like Flatliners. I'm interested in knowing what decisions
right.
led to this.
It's got a little bit of that too.
Sure. In a fun way.
In a fun way. This is a good one. At the Daily Planet, Clark is telling Chloe that he suspects Lionel knows his secret, but he refuses to tell his mother about this since she's been through so much. While Lex is playing chess in the Luthor mansion, I guess this is just him? This is not the scene with Lana?
No, I think this is where he's practicing and his dad comes in.
Is there a scene with Lana this episode, or am I thinking of the other episode?
Yeah, there is.
Great, got it. So he's just playing chess by himself. Cool guy.
He's just like praying someone will come in and he can play pool with them. But in the meantime,
this school semester I ran a chess club for kids. Here's the thing, Zach. I don't really know how to play chess. And it's fine when the other kids also like don't even know where the pieces go. Great, boom, gotcha. I know what the pieces do. I know where they go. But like I was just asked, like, hey, can you run a chess club? I'm like, I know how to play chess. I'm not good at it, but sure, I can run it for fucking
I don't know,
first graders.
I don't know strategy.
No.
I know how to move the pieces.
So I'm helping the kids out, and I'm watching their match, right? I got my arms crossed. I'm like, well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. If I were you, I could do this. And the kid looks at me like, well, but then he can get me with that and get me with that and get me with that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, huh? Good eye. Huh. You could probably teach me something. Okay, so Lionel enters and makes suggestive remarks about the incident in the limo, then accuses Lex of orchestrating the event. I do wonder, I don't know, maybe the wiki will have something for us. I watched this a second time because I had watched it weeks ago when we intended to record this. I do wonder if Rosenbaum did the dialogue there, because it does have a little bit of Lex's cadence.
What do you mean? Where? I'm sorry, where?
The Jigsaw guy.
Interesting.
I do think it sounds enough like Lex that they could be like, oh, is it Lex?
Right. I never even thought of that.
It caught me as like, it sounded enough like Rosenbaum's cadence. Okay, so even though Lionel recently tried to take Luthor Corp away from Lex with the Apex takeover, Lex denies having anything to do with it. Lex only appears worried about Lionel's safety because he considers a threat against him to be a threat against Luthor Corp. As Clark enters his house, Martha reads him a speech she prepared for the Civil Liberties fundraiser. He then warns her that Lionel knows his secret. Concerned, Martha tells him that she trusted Lionel to take care of the video sent to her, which showed Clark surviving the explosion in Warehouse 15. Clark advises her to keep quiet about the situation until they know Lionel's motives. And Martha leaves for the fundraiser.
In that scene when she reads the speech, her speech includes the line "Truth, Justice, and the American Way," which is a Nietzsche line of the lowest order.
Boo. Boo, I say. I'm not super interested in this, like, spinning the wheels of, like, let's do shit or get off the pot with Lionel knowing, you know? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there.
This is the episode. No, this is the episode
I guess so.
where
I guess you're right.
we finally commit.
So, yeah, I guess so it's important that we have that bit there. I guess just as I'm sick of it, they, in fact, like...
Right, yeah. They're like, okay, fine, Brian.
Fine, fuck. Brian, many years in the future.
Who knows? With the way our podcasts have been off time, they might have got the broadcast back then.
Oh, man. I'm trying to fit in a joke about how 2006 Brian won't stop masturbating. It's like, yeah, no, we'll make sure, like, will you stop? If you stop fucking masturbating so much, 2006 Brian, we'll move along this Lionel storyline.
No deal, Smallville.
Haven't got me yet. Okay. So a man is checking Lionel's office for concealed electronic devices while Lionel is acting impolite to him. I wonder who this guy is.
I was gonna say pro tip. If you're on Smallville and you're not a major character, but we see your face and you have a couple lines, you might be the bad guy of the week.
Maybe. Okay, so after the man leaves, the figure's face suddenly appears on his the figures. That is, this persona doesn't have a name.
Foil Man.
Foil Man appears. Foil Man's face appears on his laptop and repeats.
Foil Man versus Wheat Boy. It's a spin-off comic.
We got to write that episode, man. We got to write that episode. Foil Man's face suddenly appears on the laptop, repeats one of Lionel's rude comments. Nervously, Lionel looks around for surveillance equipment, and then the figure declares that he sees everything. Not putting together there was a guy just fucking messing around with your fucking computers, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. This is a good episode. I'm not nitpicking. Suddenly, all the lights in Lionel's office go out. Lionel grabs his gun and makes a call to 911, only to hear the Tinfoil Man's voice answer the call. The figure sneaks up behind...
Shades of wall gun. You know,
yes,
like much like Lex has a wall gun, Lionel has a desk gun right under his desk.
Of course,
like some kind of fucking mob boss, like he's in a liquor store.
That one at least, I like. That one makes sense to me. That one.
That makes sense. If I was a billionaire piece of shit, I would have a gun under my desk too, for sure, because people are coming after you. You know.
You know what? Maybe I'm coming around on wall gun.
Oh, we were always on board with the compartment.
Right. Okay, Tinfoil Man sneaks up behind Lionel and knocks him out, wanting to play another game.
Oh my gosh.
After waking up in a dark room, Lionel lights a match and gets startled by the sight of a charred corpse. Just as he screams and drops the match, several TVs turn on, showing the figure, the Tinfoil Man, who reveals that he was destroyed by Lionel's greed. A bright light shines on Lionel, showing 2 buckets of an unidentified liquid. The TV show of how this next game is played. Lionel must fill the buckets with the liquid, which is highly flammable, carry them on a pole, and balance the pole on a hook hanging from the ceiling. In the video, Alex, the limo driver, wasn't able to balance the buckets and was burned to death. At first, Lionel refuses to play the game, but the figure, the Tinfoil Man, tells him that the room will be consumed by flames in 10 minutes. Pipes beneath Lionel's...
I like the way the wiki describes the video like it's an instructional video, like at a fucking laser tag.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Here's how you play laser tag. Also, what did the fucking limo driver do?
What the fuck?
This is like how much you think he makes? Not that much.
It's the guy's just doing his fucking job. Come on. And you're like, no one close to you is innocent is like, I think the argument this guy would fucking make, but like, his limo driver.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure Taylor Swift. I enjoy Taylor Swift very much. I'm sure Taylor Swift's limo driver's like, fuck this lady. Like, you know?
Right, for sure.
Sure.
She's the worst.
Because that's what because that's how anybody feels about any boss. Even the ones they like, they're like, fuck this guy. Like,
yeah, exactly. I know I like him. He's my friend, but fuck him.
Fuck him. Pipes beneath
There's
Lionel's.
a great little line there where the Jigsaw wannabe is like, how does it feel to be completely helpless? And then Lionel's like, I'll let you know if it ever happens.
Oh, great line. Great line. So there is an element here of like, it's not fair for me to be like, hey, this is a Saw knockoff. I'm like, you didn't knock off Saw enough. But it's so in the Saw series of films, the traps, the games, quote unquote, are like really awful, put you in a really awful situation. But the idea is, the hope is, from Jigsaw's perspective, is that you get through it and that you're sorry for what you did. There's a bit in Saw X where a woman survives the thing, and some of the other people involved in the movie are still like, whatever. And it's like, no, we get her to a hospital now. She survived. She's good. We do everything now to save her. I do not get the sense the tinfoil man wants Lionel to get through this.
No. No, something tells me he's dying no matter what.
Right.
His plan.
If you get through Jigsaw's thing, you're good in his book. Who makes him judge, jury, executioner that makes you have to dig a key out of your eye? That's the one for me. That's in Saw 2. That's how Saw 2 opens. The guy's got a horrible thing's going to happen to him, but he has to dig into his eyeball to get the key out to the thing. And I don't do eyes. I don't fuck with eyes.
No.
I won't wear... Ugh. I don't need contacts. Wouldn't if I glasses, no matter what. I'm not doing contacts. I can't watch someone take contacts out. I don't want anything near my eye. So like if it was like, yo, you got to dig in your eyeball, get a key. Nah, I'm good. Just kill me. I'll just wait. I'll just wait for the trap to go off. Kill me.
Really, honestly, because I would do the math. I would be like, even if I tried, I would pass out halfway through. There's no way. So I might as well just get killed.
A lot of these Saw movies do not account for people who would just start barfing all over themselves and pass out. Which is what I would do. I would see the scary puppet and go, and then just pass out. And then the old man would just be sitting by the monitor and just be like, ah, shit, that timer's going off. Well. Ooh. I had another Saw thought, but it's gone now, so that's fine. Lex is playing chess with Lana in the Luthor mansion. She asks Lex...
Not a Lex Lana!
Come on, this episode's so good. Which, once again, on paper, I get it. I understand it. It's just... Don't. It's bad and don't.
Now, let's help me refresh my memory. I don't think they kissed last episode, right?
Correct. Lex kissed her. She kind of backed away. She went back in for more.
Right. That was the glass episode that happened?
That is correct,
right.
I believe.
Okay. So now they are trying to pretend like it didn't happen. Got it.
Right. She asks Lex why they haven't been avoiding mentioning their kiss for the last week. Did you like hang out the next day and then like not talk about it?
I like, this is where he says the line, like, of course I remember, short of a serious blow to the head, I wouldn't be able to forget that. Lex, don't tempt fate, buddy. Don't tempt fate.
That must have been a writer's room joke, right? That clearly made everyone laugh when they put that. That made everyone laugh when they put that in. They had to.
Short of a serious blow to head, another one?
Yeah.
An 18th?
I will also say it was any smooch that happened that then I didn't talk about after a week was like only because I didn't want to be smooched again.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If you want to get smooched again, you broach the subject
right.
pretty quick. Hey, want to make out again?
Right. No, I have pulled very awkward, not that I've had people banging down doors to smooch me, to be clear, but it's been a lot of yeah, no, what? Gotta go. Once again, I'm talking about single hand incidences here, not no one's fucking
You're breaking up. Yeah. You're breaking up. We're in person. I can't hear you.
Okay. So Lex tells her that it's a memory that will always stay with him. Ew. Gross bad. Their conversation.
By the way, update on I listened to this week's Talkville. Michael Rosenbaum continues to be in denial about Lex's creepiness towards Lana.
What do you think that is?
They are at the end of season 3, and it's not in your face like it becomes. So I get it at this point, but he's still kind of in denial. He's like, "No, I don't think she feels that way at all. No." Buddy. Do you forget where the show goes?
Do you forget a storyline from the show? Clearly everyone had this on their mind because it was all building to this kind of. This was always on the table as an option. Of course, you want Clark's friend to mac on Clark's girl.
Right. There's a moment in the pilot where Lex kind of macs on her a little bit.
Yes. Michael.
So, not yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because season 4 is when it gets really apparent and undeniable. It's going to be interesting to see him try to dance around that.
It's because I don't even mean it to be clear from this is problematic and gross. Acknowledge what it is though. Acknowledge clearly that was on the table of a thing and that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it's seriously problematic because as we talked about, these are all 25, 30-year-olds, doing the show. And it's a weird universe where everyone is the same age and an adult.
Right.
But also one of them's a billionaire.
Right.
If you take it literally, yeah, it's fucked up. And we joke about that. But it's not something he should feel bad about enough to pretend that wasn't what was happening with the character, right?
Right. Are you familiar with the game Monster High?
No.
Monster High is a video game, and it's actually a kind of fun party game. It is a quote-unquote dating simulator. You're at a high school with a whole bunch of monsters, and you have to find a monster to take to prom. And it's actually fun. It's multiplayer. You pick where you're going to go in the high school. You talk to somebody, and then hopefully basically you rack up enough points that the person you want to take to prom will go with you. It's actually a very fun game. But the whole thing is it's Monster High. It's a high school. It's prom. They say every monster, who of course are very attractively drawn, they're they're all in their 20s. And that's Smallville. That's Smallville.
Right, exactly, yes. 100%.
Everyone's in their 20s.
I think obviously you and I are going to make fun of the fact that she's in high school or whatever.
Right.
But you don't have to feel bad about it, Michael Rosenbaum.
Michael Rosenbaum doesn't have to feel bad about it.
You didn't write the show. You aren't Lex.
Right. If you can't be yeah, this was a little weird. Now, when can you? So this podcast you're doing, you're not going to get real on it. You can't get real on it.
I do think maybe it's an actor thing where like actors they want to defend their characters, right? They want to get they're in their character's head.
Sure.
And he's like, that's not what I was thinking about when I was performing the scene. You know, I don't think that's what Lex is doing. And maybe that's true, but in the text, it really seems like that is what's happening.
I think Goff and Miller think it's creepy.
Yeah. Yes.
Whether or not they
sure.
or do they? I don't know. Because once again, obviously, you have the guy who's going to be Superman's villain, Mac, on fucking Clark's Girl. Obviously. If we were in that writer's room, of course we would be humoring that conversation.
Oh, 100%.
I think hopefully we'd come down on, it's weird, let's not. But
if they made Smallville today, Lex would be in high school and be the same age as them.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so their conversation is interrupted by a phone call, and Lana leaves, going to Metropolis, because we can just hop off to Metropolis, no fucking problem. Lex answers the phone call, telling the person on the other end to make sure no one knows Lionel is missing. Back in the flame-lit room, Lionel is carefully carrying the liquid to the hook while fire surrounds his feet. Several flames flare up as Lionel spills some liquid. The figure continues to mock him, accusing Lionel of killing his parents. But
John Glover looks like fucking John McClane in this scene. He's in a wife beater.
He's so fucking hot in this scene. He looks so fucking hot.
He's ripped. He is ripped. They definitely gave him a heads up and are like, in 3 weeks, you're going to have an episode where you're shirtless for part of it. So
fucking like, great.
He's
the hair.
In such good shape.
Oh, fuck.
And he's standing over a fire, so he's like glistening, just good looking dude.
This old fucking queen was like, got the fucking assignment and was ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to fucking go. But eventually, Lionel is able to balance the liquid on the hook. He is suddenly thrown into another room where the figure declares that it is time for another game. But this time, he will need a partner.
Did this fucking Jigsaw guy used to work at Universal Studios or something? This is fucking rigged up like the stunt show, the Backdraft stunt show.
Yeah, right.
Clearly, you weren't hurting for money if you rented out the space.
I know, right?
All this shit.
It's the hoops. The hoops the Saw franchise has to jump through to justify why Jigsaw can do all of this. It's pretty intense. And that takes several movies, and it still don't make no sense. It's like, yeah. So what's your... I think you could have bought a small house for the time, like, been...
Right, been fine. You'd been good.
You could have, like, lived an okay life.
I took out a loan for all this shit.
So Lionel then sees Martha, who is sealed in a soundproof, impermeable chamber. Water begins to fill the chamber. Martha and Lionel desperately try to talk to each other. That's a stunt, right? If you're filling a chamber with water, like that's a day. That's an interesting day.
Oh yeah.
I think for what's Martha? Annette O'Toole. That was a, like, you're coming in today and you're going to be in a water tank. Do you think that's exciting or like, fuck, I got to go in a fucking water tank today? Ugh.
Probably both.
Probably
like
both.
Exciting and like, oh, I'm over this pretty quick.
Right. 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 Still a long fucking shoot day. Okay, so Lionel finds a switch which allows them to converse, but he is unable to shatter the glass-like chamber. If all it takes is finding a switch that allows them to talk, why make them not be able to talk at all?
Right, yeah, I don't know.
If that's all it takes, why?
Maybe they want to show how strong the glass is. I don't know.
I get that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, there's no reason.
Okay.
There's a fun writer thing that happens here
Yeah.
where, as the wiki I'm sure is about to tell you, there's a anagram basically that he has to solve.
Right.
And when he figures out what the game is, he turns to Martha and he goes, "It's an anagram." And then he goes, "It's a word puzzle." Like, if you know it's an anagram, then like you should say the word puzzle thing first. But the writers put it that way because like he might as well turn to the screen and go, "It's a word puzzle, morons."
Just
You fucking idiots. That's what an anagram is.
You're 13, and I'm going to explain this to you.
Exactly, yeah.
So the figure shows him a sign with the words "a toad-like fever" spelled out. He must find the hidden meaning in the words, or Martha will die. Do we see Martha get got?
Get kidnapped?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay. Doesn't matter. Clark is with Chloe in the Daily Planet talking about Lionel when he receives a call from Lois. According to Lois, Martha never showed up at the fundraiser in Metropolis. Got it. Chloe and Clark visit Lionel's office where Lex is asking an employee to search the building's security videos. Clark demands to know what's going on, and Lex tells him that Lionel was taken from his office. The last call he tried to make was to 911, and the call was made during a gap in the building's security tapes. Clark x-rays the room and sees a device hidden in a statue. After Lex smashes the statue, Chloe examines the device, deciding to power it up and trace the signal. A lot of Chloe like, "I'm tracing it. I'm back tracing it. Oh, the signal's pinging off of the..."
She picks up this like bug or whatever, this piece of equipment off the ground, and like in 0.5 seconds is like, "Oh, I know exactly what this is.
Convenient.
I've seen this before. I'm 19 years old. This is insane."
It's amazing, this era of television where it was like, computer thing, done.
Yeah.
I can do whatever the plot requires if you just give me a keyboard prop.
This scene, Lex says, excuse me, to Clark, he's like, it's a shame that it takes something like this to get us in the same room together. You know, maybe after this is over, we can come to some common ground. This is a fun episode because they're teaming up again. They're back to like man flirting with each other.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
we're friends. We're buddies again. Remember this? And as the audience, you're like, yeah. That.
I wish there was a couple more of these. I kind of wish we were still doing it. This is a good, like...
Yes,
more.
We get one more really good one of these.
Yeah,
but this episode becomes, for a few brief scenes, the Lex Clark buddy cop show, and I'm like, I want that. Give me that show.
I want that
fucking
more.
watch that.
I want
show.
it more. Okay, as Chloe attempts to hack the sequence of the device, which are words that definitely all go together, Lex leaves the room to take a call from Lana. Chloe is able to locate an address 5 miles away from LuthorCorp, which Clark and Lex drive to. There's a great line here as like to cut the scene of like they're gonna go, and Lex is like, "Hey, my Porsche's a lot faster than your truck," and it's like, yes,
right, yeah,
they're back,
because
they're back, baby.
Well, Clark. Right, but also it was like Clark was going to super speed, but Lex is like, "What are you doing? Are you fucking stupid? Come on, let's go."
Right.
And Clark's like, "Okay, fuck, yeah, all right."
Right. So here's the thing. There's going to be I was going to save this, but there's a scene coming up towards the end of the episode where it's like there's the whole Lex doesn't know, but Lex wants to know, and like, but Lex does know. Lex, you do know. You know everything. In order to be like pissed off by things that people say, you have to know.
Right. The real tension is not, does he know? It's like, can he get him to admit?
Right.
Like, it's like, We fucking know. It's like that sketch. Fuck, what was the Pete? He used to do the Batman sketches.
Pete Holmes.
Pete Holmes, yeah. Where it's like the sketch was like, we all know you're fucking Batman.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
basically. That's what's going on. He was like, yeah, I know you have. I don't know the specifics. I don't know about Krypton, maybe. But I know you're not fucking normal. I know you have powers, and you're just being a dick about it.
Right. It's just stop being a dick about it. Just tell me what's your powers.
Just kidding. Do me a favor. Don't gaslight me into insanity. That's all I'm asking.
Right. I don't know if things. I am not fully convinced things would go well if Clark ever told Lex. We've had this discussion many times over the years. I'm still not convinced. But, like, gaslighting him doesn't help.
No. There's a point in this episode where we're going to get to shortly where Lionel is now gaslighting him to protect Clark, and he knows it, and it's one of my favorite scenes ever. And, like, I was watching that, and I was like, Lex has every right. He's done some shitty things, but he has every right to hate these people.
Absolutely.
Like, you are totally justified in your hatred of Lionel and Clark, and eventually Lana.
1,000,000%. So Martha and Lionel have to unscramble the letters and come up with the phrase, to dare fake evil, although they can't find any meaning to it. The water level is now up to Martha's shoulders. Lionel frantically screams that his captor wants him to fail, and he begins thinking
We're really getting a blow-by-blow. Damn.
Yeah, this paragraph is so long, dude. He begins thinking of the new meaning of the anagram, failed takeover. At this moment, Martha is completely submerged in water. Panic-stricken, Lionel figures out that Apex was the failed takeover. Martha's glass chamber shatters just in time, and Lionel and Martha embrace. The figure shows them a stairway out of the room, which will lead them to their final game. This is a good, funny thing here of they're like, why the fuck should we go the fuck up the, like, oh, go up the stairs, that's where freedom is, go up the stairs. I'm like, how? You can't make us go up the fucking stairs, you can't make us do that. It's like, or just wait till the floor electrifies.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right,
Universal Stunt Show,
guess we'll go up the oh man, I fucking love theme park stupid shows, man.
The Universal in Florida has a Twister stunt show.
I remember that.
Not stunt show, like effects show.
I doubt it's still there, but like, I don't know how recently
it was there. It was there like 7 years ago.
That's a while, but maybe that's still longer than. Yeah,
I was at the time. Had been like 20 years since that movie came.
So maybe.
Surprised.
Yeah, but I remember seeing that. Yeah. I remember that scaring the shit. I had not seen Twister when I went on that, and that scared the shit out of me, dude.
All I remember is I got splashed with water.
I don't remember that. I remember the cow going by, because that happens in Twister.
Oh yeah.
I remember. I was at Universal with my grandparents. My grandparents took us to Universal, and we're doing the Twister experience. And I remember there's like a video package at some point, and like Bill Paxton is like the incredible danger that we were in like the dealing with these. And my grandmother just shakes her head and goes, "They were not in any danger." I was like, "All right, Grandma, come on." Fucking Terminators aren't attacking us in the fucking Terminator show either, but like, let's get into it, huh?
That the 3D Terminator show was dope. I remember that too.
I did that long before I ever saw Terminator, and I'm like, fucking Terminator rules.
I mean, that was like Avatar quality 3D, but before Avatar, right? That's what James Cameron, like, because 3D up until then was like kind of fun for like 5 minutes, and then it was like, okay, this is dumb. But the 3D that you got in the Terminator one was like, oh my god,
There was like a scorpion guy that doesn't exist anymore, but there was like a scorpion guy, and then I remember there was I believe it was pre-recorded dialogue, so there'd be like a large man in a leather jacket and sunglasses being the Terminator, but like there's Arnold dialogue going through the loudspeaker, right? And like,
well, there was also a movie that they a little short movie that
there's the movie
Arnold
going, and then there's some live action stuff happening in the theater.
Right.
And I remember like the fucking motorcycle going down the alley of this fucking theater, and then it disappears into the fog, and then boom, we're in the fucking movie, and I'm like, fuck, this is the most incredible thing my fucking 10-year-old mind has ever fucking seen. And for some reason, I'm 10 years old. I'm not telling my parents, you need to show me Terminator 2 right fucking now. I don't know how I didn't see it till I was 16. Like,
did no one tell you it was a movie?
I maybe.
I just thought that was a fucking ride.
I just like, show me Terminator 2 now. 'Cause man, that movie's fucking good.
It's so good.
They don't make them like that anymore. Okay, so the door to the elevator immediately locks them. Man, I'm game to talk about fucking Universal rides any fucking time.
I just was gonna add. Have you heard these? There's like a new thing. Maybe it's not new, but a trend when people are talking about Terminator stuff to be like the first one's actually way better. And I'm like, look, man, I love the first one. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Stop it.
Just stop. Just stop it.
Just shut the fuck up. Of course. No, listen.
That's like that. This is the movie equivalent of like their earlier stuff was better. No, it wasn't.
No. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Terminator's important. It is an important movie.
Oh no,
and it's good. It's
movie,
very good.
Movie.
It's a Hall of Famer, great movie. Neither of us are debating that. Better than T2? Fuck you. Go home.
Like people are like, oh, it has the kid. It's too cutesy. And blah, blah, blah.
What the
like,
fuck are you talking?
It's the one of the greatest, if not the greatest, action movies of all time. So
who the fuck said that? We have to go fight them right fucking now.
Terminator is like really fucking good, but it's more of a horror, sci-fi horror than it is an action movie.
Right.
It's a slasher movie with Arnold, right? You know,
right. And it's a little cheap and it's a little silly and like it's got some bumps.
And that stuff is very endearing.
Yes. T2's a perfect fucking movie.
Yeah, exactly. T2 is all time.
T2's like a
movie.
Desert Island, like you want some funny stuff, T2's fucking got it. You want some heart, you want some emotion, T2's fucking got it. You want fucking Robert Patrick to fucking be a metal man, fucking here it is, T2, right. Baby.
Look, maybe it's because I saw it when I was a kid, but there's no moment in Terminator where I'm like on the verge of tears.
No.
Terminator 2, when he's lowering into the fucking steel.
I'm welling up just like, thinking about it. I probably should stop.
I know now why you cry.
I should probably stop humming the song while I'm lowering my daughter down into her playpen, right?
She's going to give me the thumbs up.
Yeah. One day. Dun, 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 dun. God, it's I've seen every Terminator movie.
It's a similar argument, or I think people feel like they're saying the same thing as when like someone says Alien is better than Aliens.
That's a different conversation. That's a wholly different conversation.
Because those are both masterpieces.
Right.
They're
doing different things, and they're both very good at what they're doing.
Right. So that's more a matter of what your taste is.
Right.
Whereas T1 and T2 has that, but it also has a quality difference.
Listen, there is a very good, very innately talented filmmaker in James Cameron who has also learned a lot about his craft in between T1 and T2.
Right.
And like, brother.
And he
T2's
has money.
Money. Just T2 looks phenomenal still. That's how much money they spent on that in 1992.
Yeah.
T2 just still looks fucking real good. God damn, that's a good movie. Why is this not just a T2 podcast where we just watch T2 every week?
Every week.
Every week, and we're just like, fuck! T2, I haven't seen that in a couple of years. I gotta watch it again, man.
Do you think our listeners know how badly we just want to be doing a movie podcast?
We want to do a movie podcast so bad.
Can they sense it?
It's not that I'm not having fun doing a Smallville podcast. It's there are a handful of things this show could have been, and like Smallville was the thing that got us to the computer, and like, man, this just as easily could have just watched a movie every week and talked about it. That would have been cool too. That said, we're here. We're doing Smallville. We're gonna finish Smallville.
I love it. Smallville.
Don't take that as any wavering in our commitment to finish Smallville.
No, we're almost done with 5 seasons, which means we're almost halfway done. We're not stopping now. That would be insane.
No, we can't. Search Smallville on your podcasting app of choice. There's a graveyard. Just a graveyard of half-finished.
We can't be one of them.
We can't be one of them. We will be one of the lower listened to ones, but we will be one of the finished ones. Okay, what the fuck were we talking about here?
What will happen is once we do our movie podcast that launches us into the stratosphere, then people will go back and listen to this thing.
That's it, brother.
Like, oh wait, this is even better. And then someone's gonna be like, their Smallville podcast was actually better than their movie podcast. And then someone else will be like, shut the fuck up. No, it's not. You're an idiot.
Beautiful. Okay, so Lionel replies that Apex was an Asian consortium he used to try to take back Luthor Corp from Lex, but in the process, many investors lost everything. He was trying to teach Lex hard lessons, hoping that he would rediscover his own humanity, but Martha doesn't understand why they couldn't just have a father-to-son talk. The figure reappears on the TV inside the elevator, and a box opens with a gun in it. Another fucking gun box. Smallville loves gun boxes in season 5. Zach, you are muted presently.
The wiki is skipping over the part where Lionel says, when Martha says you could have just had a father-son talk, and he's like, I'm no Jonathan Kent.
I'm not the father Jonathan Kent was.
I'm not, Martha. I'm not the father. Yeah.
Oh, John Glover. He's so fucking good. So they give a gun. Either Martha could kill Lionel or Lionel could kill Martha, and the winner goes free. If one of them isn't dead, the elevator cable will explode, and they will both die. This is basically how Saw goes. Like, Saw is like, yo, your thing is you got to kill him across the room. You got to get the gun, you got to get the bullet, and you got to kill that guy.
Right. I mean, that's basically the Dark Knight ending.
That's true.
Both Saw and this episode predate the Dark Knight, so I'm sure Christopher Nolan stole it from.
He just did.
One of
He
these
was
two.
like, man, we fucking caught him. Bam, 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 we got him. This was all a fucking trap to get him. We're going to be doing Batman soon. I think we're going to wrap up this season. We're going to bulk wrap through this season. Then we're going to do a couple weeks of Batman, and I'm excited for it. I'm ready for it. I'm jonesing for it.
Yep. How did our Superman episodes do? Do you know?
They're okay. They're not bad.
Did people like those? Okay, good. It's not like our Halloween.
No, not at all.
Halloween.
Actually, our Halloween episode, I think in reverse psychology, actually is now not that bad.
It also might help that we didn't do a terrible or TV movie. We did like
maybe right. No, honestly, one could argue. Once again, talking about like how maybe we kind of wanted to do a movie podcast. Our Superman episodes are some of my favorite ones I've ever done, and the listenership does reflect that.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I listened to all our episodes, and I think those are our best ones, the Superman ones. So
yeah, so more of that in our Batman shows coming up, which will be a fun break. So we're almost done with this season, so that'll be a fun break. We'll celebrate being halfway through Smallville by not talking about Smallville for a little while. I don't know if we will do all the Batmans in one successive run. We might do an era and then take a break for a little while, and then come back to it. Yeah, because there's a lot of eras of Batman.
There's a lot of Batman movies.
A lot of Batman movies. A lot of good Batman movies.
And then there's a couple really bad ones.
Even one of the really bad ones is pretty good.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. That's not the one I'm talking about.
Fair enough.
I'm talking about the one that you said you would never watch again, that you're going to watch again.
Yep.
That almost is one that we should live stream together and watch it. And
You're right.
Just do
You're right. Just on our faces as we watch it. We should have no mics on. It should just be just record.
It would just be two guys slowly dying on the screen.
Anyway, look forward to that. Okay. So Chloe is still in Luthor Corp on the phone with Clark, who has just entered a dark building with Lex. Just a house, just a creepy house straight out of fucking Saw.
Oh no, this is my favorite moment of the episode. Not my favorite moment, but my favorite line. They get to the door. They're like basically like in a crack house. Like it's like a building. Like
just the house from Saw 2.
Just gone to shit. And they're walking through the hallway, and they get to this door to the Jigsaw's apartment. And Lex goes, "Do you want to wait for the cops?" And Clark goes, "No." And then Lex cocks his gun and he goes, "Neither do I." And then he kicks the door open.
Yeah. Fuck.
I'm like, yes, Clark and Lex buddies again, teaming up to solve crime.
I would have watched a whole season of them just like, this is our buddy cop season. And
yes,
we'll get
absolutely.
And then like you still have the tension of Lex like putting his hands on his hips, like, "Tell me you're an alien," and Clark being like, "No, I just have to go to the bathroom."
Dude, it's not too late. You could just do a Tom Welling, Michael Rosenbaum buddy cop movie where they're just buddy cops.
That'd be great.
Let's do it.
The problem is that's not based on an IP, Zach. So thereby, no, they're not gonna do it.
What if it's a Sherlock Holmes update? They haven't done that recently.
Oh, I felt my back get fucking tired hearing that. All right. Chloe is still in Luth, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Okay, so all Lex and Clark find in the house is a TV with a piece of paper over it that says "Game Over." Clark takes the paper off the TV and finds a live video of the elevator where Martha and Lionel are being held captive. Lex and Clark look on as Lionel tells Martha that she should live because Clark is a very special boy.
The look on Lex's face is perfect.
It's so fucking good. They're on the monitor and he just like flicks to Clark and fuck, it's so good.
I think Rosenbaum is actually the MVP of this episode, even though it's Glover's episode. He's so good. He just, the look of like hurt and like, what the fuck is he talking about, Clark? What's going on here?
Yeah. Why are you friends with my dad now? So Clark is a very special boy, and he depends on her, especially now that Jonathan Kent is gone. Even though Lionel continues urging Martha to shoot him, She can't bring herself to do it. Lionel he would have been eventually he's like, all right, I'll do it to myself. Why didn't you just do it first, bud? Why were you going to make her do it?
Yeah.
You should do it, but I'm going to make you remember that you did it. So even though Lionel continues urging Martha to shoot him, she can't bring herself to do it. Lionel decides to shoot himself, only to discover that the gun is empty. At this time, Lex and Clark lose the video feed from the elevator. Over the phone, Chloe tells Clark that Martha and Lionel are being held somewhere across town. While Lex is talking to his security team, Clark super speeds away. Lex, you know. Because it's not like, where the fuck did... Because if I was like, so Zach, what did you think about that scene from Smallville? And you were just gone? I'd spend the next 20 minutes probably trying to get in touch with you, like, hey, are you still, like, here?
Right, and also, if that had happened, like, 20 times in our relationship, and I always ended up way across town really quickly... Yeah.
I might be a little like, hey, or motherfucker got super speed. He not telling me he's Superman. Zach, you gotta tell me if you're Superman.
I promise I will.
Okay. So the figure enters the room next to the elevator and reveals to Martha and Lionel that he was never going to let them go. Just electrocuting them downstairs would have been way easier, big guy. The game was rigged. He takes off his mask, but Lionel can't seem to recognize him.
The game was rigged. Jigsaw.
I
never would have expected this from you, creepy killer guy.
That's actually a plot point in the Saw movies that they realize a couple of the games weren't winnable, so they realize it's not Jigsaw. It's a Jigsaw copycat.
Oh, because Jigsaw plays fair.
Jigsaw plays fair in his own twisted way.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't winnable, it wasn't Jigsaw. Saw movies are good, guys. Don't get me wrong; they're good They're good dumb horror movies. They're good in the way like a good Friday the 13th movie is. Not
right
in like, and some are a lot bad. 3D Saw 3D, which is 7. Jigsaw. I think, and a lot of people would argue Spiral, but I like Spiral. Those are the only ones that I think are like full. Oh, there's another one. 5, maybe 4 or 5, which is just a clip show. That one's pretty bad.
A clip show movie.
Yeah. It's a real Rocky 4. I think it's 5, because 6 is pretty good. 5 is fucking Luke from Gilmore Girls, but he's a cop and he's walking his way through all of these old fucking Jigsaw evidence, and it's like, remember this fucking scene? And you see the fucking scene from 1.
Oh my gosh.
That's we got to get this thing up for Halloween, baby. That one's a drag. So yeah, 5, 7, and 8 are drags. Other than that, they're all pretty fun. If you like that kind of thing. So, okay. So Lionel begs. Okay. Lincoln Cole was the man checking Lionel's office hours earlier for electronic devices. Checking Lionel's office hours earlier, not office hours earlier, for electronic devices. Lionel begs him to let Martha go. After Lionel apologizes, the man explodes the elevator cables and the elevator begins falling. Meanwhile, Clark enters the building and x-rays the elevator shaft, seeing the elevator fall at an alarming rate. He bursts through the wall and catches the elevator. I don't care that he's Superman. I feel like they're still dead.
I wrote that in my notes. They're still dead! Exclamation
I think
point.
this would, like, they would go flying up towards the ceiling and splatter because they're moving still at a very fast rate.
Do you think that it's a budget thing? Like, in this, because it would make sense if he got in the elevator shaft and jumped up and slowed it down until it landed, right? That's the way to really save him.
Right.
Like, you can't just catch it and kind of do a little spring work at the bottom.
Instead of crashing into the ground, they crashed into you. Like, what's the difference? They're dead.
Right. You are a man of steel. They just crashed into steel.
So we're close-ish to the finale, where you certainly, like, close enough now that they know what the finale set pieces are going to be. Which could mean, Clark's got to go slow that down. Like, no, I think he can just catch it.
Right, yeah.
This spreadsheet with our budget for the finale says that he can just catch it.
It'll be fine. Yeah, he'll survive.
No. The science of this budget spreadsheet, clearly. So at the Kent farm... meanwhile, blah, 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 blah. Martha and Clark embrace while Lionel, stunned at Clark's abilities, thanks Clark and leaves the building. Just stumbles through a fucking hole in the wall like, thank you, son. And then just like fucks away into the mist. At the Kent farm, Martha tells Clark what happened was not Lionel's fault, but Clark believes that it is. Even though Lionel was willing to sacrifice himself, Clark still thinks he can't be trusted. However, Martha thinks they might have to trust him to protect Clark's secret. As Lionel is examining the gun in the building, Lex enters and tells him that the figure was a man named Lincoln Cole. He didn't care if he was caught, he just wanted Lionel dead. Lex also confronts Lionel about what he meant when he said that Clark was a special boy. But Lionel doesn't give away Clark's secret. He just tells Lex to stop obsessing over him, which is the number one way to stop someone from obsessing over something.
This scene is my favorite scene of the episode, maybe my favorite scene of the season,
Ooh.
maybe one of my favorite scenes of the show. It's just Rosenbaum is so good in it. And obviously John Glover is always good, but playing the, like, I know you're gaslighting me. Like, there's a Clark-shaped hole in that wall. He was with me across town, and then he was here. There's a hole in the wall that looks like Clark. The elevator stopped magically. It wasn't the brakes. You said he's a special boy on that footage.
Why'd you say he was a special boy, Dad? Why'd you say you never called me a special boy?
Like, it is sort of the realization in its great writing of Lex of like, oh, now my dad knows and is on his side. Great.
Yep.
This man who ruined me
is now kumbaya
is now kumbaya with my best friend who also ruined me. Great.
Lex is the victim here.
He is. I don't know the secret I so badly wanted to know, but now my fucking dad does.
My dad knows it.
So good.
So later, Clark visits Lionel's office, and Lionel reveals that he's known Clark's secret since he held the crystal that helped form the Fortress of Solitude. He hasn't told anyone because revealing Clark's secret would change his destiny and harm Martha. Despite this, Clark is still suspicious that Lionel knew the gun wasn't loaded. Before leaving, he gives Lionel a firm warning to stay away from his mother. Later, After Clark leaves, Lionel grips his head in pain as he falls to his knees before writing furiously at his desk.
We do get like a literal "you're not my dad."
Yeah. Yep.
And a "stay away from my mom." So it's like we could be watching like a very different show.
Yep.
Just that like, "You're not my dad.
You're not
Stay
my
away
dad.
from my mom."
My dad died a couple of weeks ago. Chill.
Right.
Fucking chill.
And we don't know this yet, but you were there when he died.
Yeah.
So just cool it.
Let's fucking cool our heels a little bit. So that was that episode. I give that one an A. I think it's just a good episode of fucking
Sure.
Smallville, man.
I think it's a 2-horse race right now. Best episode of the year. We got Lexmas and we got this one.
I agree.
Those are the front runners.
I fully agree. I'm cold reading right now. I'm just looking for any interesting facts here. No Mercy is also the number plate on Tess Mercer's car, first seen at the end of season 8, episode Toxic. Interesting. Does
the wiki say, hey, guess what? This was kind of similar to Saw?
Oh, my friend. We'll get there. No Lois Lane in this episode. Lana's phone number is listed as 555-0164. This was also Chloe's number in the episode Cool.
Love it.
That's funny.
Love it.
Let's see here. Clark catching Lionel and Martha in a falling elevator is similar to a scene in Superman 2 where Lois Lane is trapped in a falling elevator. Fuck you. Are we just gonna? I'm sure we can find in the comics plenty of. I'm sure in the Superman's from what, the 20s. I'm sure there's been a lot of elevators through the years. You could relax. We do have here Clark stopping the elevator instantly without slowing it down would cause the same result as it just crashing into the ground. They're dead. They're dead.
They're splat.
Yeah. This is the third and last episode where Lionel has the most screen time in the episode. Interesting.
Wait, third and
he will
last.
never. There will not be another episode where he has the most screen time of any other cast member.
Oh, I see it. The most of an. I got it.
Yeah. It is also interesting to note that Lionel's trial by fire with the burning room, water with Martha in peril of drowning, and by air through an elevator drop through the game set up by Lincoln Cole mirror the search for the Stones of Power, of which Lionel was an active party in. First was the Crystal Fire, then with Crystal blah, fucking blah.
No. I appreciate the person recognizing that, but that was not intentional.
No.
Absolutely not.
Lincoln Cole.
They wanted to forget the Stones as much as we want to forget the Stones.
1,000,000%. I did forget the Stones. I'm now remembering the Stones again, and I'm mad. Here's a stretch. Lincoln Cole's costume in a silver mask and cloak bears a striking resemblance to the look of Marvel Comics supervillain Doctor Doom. Fuck you, no. Let's see here. When Martha reads her... we got the Truth, Justice, and American Way. This episode bears a resemblance to the film The Game, starring Michael Douglas. Not even really.
No. How could you miss the movie that they're doing?
The Game is listed before Saw. Saw is listed under Illusions. No, it's also not similar to The Game.
No, not at all.
I love The Game.
We'll talk about that in our movie.
We'll do it. I saw you gave it a Letterboxd. That is a 4-star movie for me. You gave it a 2.5 on Letterboxd.
And I think I understand why you would give it that, and I think you probably understand why I wouldn't.
Agreed.
I think it's one of those. Yeah.
Agreed. This episode bears many similarities to the Saw franchise, with a very similar style of video message from the captor, as well as seemingly inescapable and deadly games designed to teach some kind of lesson, taking place in a rundown industrial setting. The captor, having been a seemingly innocent character from earlier, is also a very similar twist to the ending of the first film.
Although I'm not as worried about getting tetanus in this guy's lair as I am in Jigsaw's lair. Right.
It's frequently Saw sets feel like David Fincher 7 set left in the rain for a while.
I mean, that's clearly what the inspiration was for the whole
1,000,000%.
aesthetic of those movies.
1,000,000%. That's about it. Unless you think it's interesting that Chloe refers to Lionel as Darth Luther, and that's, Jack, you're never going to guess from Star Wars. You're back. You're here.
I'm back. Yeah.
Just in
We're
time.
almost done. We're so close.
So close. Just in time to wrap this up. Thank you for listening to the Talon Mix. We'll be back next week, and I know that because we already recorded it. It's already scheduled. It's good to go.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry we missed last week. Hope a little longer one made up for it this week. Yeah, look, there's a link in the description for a fucking Patreon. If you're inclined to help us out, we appreciate it. That does help pay for the software that, we do the show with that doesn't work very well this week. So cool. Might be reevaluating that.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to do that, which we obviously completely understand and don't blame me for it, that just leaving a review or a rating or posting about it on social media or a Discord channel you're in, just like, hey, I like these guys. I think they're funny. That's a nice thing you can do. I guess that's everything. Zach, do you have a question for the Smallville gods?
Yeah, I want to know their opinion. Do you think T2 is better than T1?
Good night, everybody.